Discover the incredible journey of a poor boy. 5 life-changing secrets to stop suffering forever. In a small town where laughter echoed louder than the struggles that lingered just beneath the surface, 12-year-old Jake Thompson dreamed of a life beyond his modest walls. With every grass blade he mowed and every car he cleaned, he believed he was stacking coins for a brighter future. He felt each dime slip through his fingers, but more than money, he craved hope, a chance to breathe without the weight of worry pressing down on his small shoulders. The warmth of his cramped home, filled with the smell of his mother Emily's cooking, wrapped around him like a comforting blanket. Yet, as his grandfather's health waned and bills piled high, the burden of reality loomed large. Each day, Jake scoured his neighborhood for odd jobs, his heart pounding with determination. He sprinted between houses, earning pocket money, hoping it would ease his mother's burden. "Look, Mom! Another $10! He'd shout as he spilled the coins on the kitchen table, their clink a weak reminder of his parents' sacrifices. Emily would kneel, eyes glistening, and pull him into an embrace, whispering, "You're my little warrior." But behind her smile lay the shadows of exhaustion, and Jake was all too aware of them. His refuge was the corner barbershop, where Mr. Jenkins, a retired Army vet with a heart of gold, turned each haircut into a lesson. Jake soaked up stories of valor and resilience, the man's voice a soothing balm for a restless boy. "Life is not about what you have, kid. It's about the fight in your heart," Mr. Jenkins would say, as he expertly snipped away at hair. Those words struck Jake like a bolt of lightning. His dreams of a better life felt a bit more tangible under the weight of such wisdom. Then, one fateful day, a letter arrived. "Congratulations, Jake. You've been awarded a scholarship to St. Augustine Academy." The words danced in front of him, shimmering like a mirage. Excitement surged, but his heart also sank. Could he really leave his friends? Voices he'd grown up with now whispered resentment. "Are you just leaving us behind?" They shot him glances that prickled his skin. It was as if he was already perched at the edge of a precipice, needing to jump without knowing where he would land. At St. Augustine, those whispers intensified. Jake felt the stares, the barriers formed by privilege and stereotypes. Navigating the cafeteria felt like walking a tightrope, balancing his old life with this new one, filled with whispers that questioned where he came from. Loneliness wrapped around him like a cloak, and he longed for the tight-knit community he once cherished. Weeks later, the school hosted a sports day where zeal overpowered civility. When he saw a bully taunt his friends, an instinct kicked in. With adrenaline pumping, Jake confronted the bully, feeling every heartbeat in his chest. The world fell silent, breaths held tight. He stepped forward, voice steady. "You don't know them. They're more than what you think." For once, he stood grounded. The storm within him calmed into clarity. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. The air simmered with tension, and when the crowd dispersed, Jake faced his friends, his mind racing. Had he abandoned them for a dream that felt as distant as the moon? Had he left behind the pieces of himself that had shaped him, hoping to create something new? With his heart heavy, Jake took a deep breath and stepped forward, ready to face not just the fallout of his choices, but the very definition of who he was. Where would this journey lead him? The door to his future hung wide open, and he could almost hear it whispering the answers he so desperately sought. Jake stood there, feeling the weight of his friends' gazes on him like 1,000 tiny stones. A mix of pride and uncertainty churned in his gut. He had tried to stand up for them, but now he worried it might have pushed them further away. Why was it so hard to balance this new life with the old one? His eyes darted to the ground, a swirl of emotion swirling within. Jake, what was that all about? Tommy, his closest childhood friend, broke the silence, folding his arms. There was confusion in his eyes, and it hurt Jake to see it. You think just because you go to some fancy school, you can say whatever you want? You can't just change sides. The word stung. I'm not trying to change sides, Jake shot back, his voice sharper than he intended. I'm trying to help. Helping? By trying to pretend you're better than us? Someone else chimed in. A wave of murmurs rippled through the crowd, and Jake's heart sank. He was losing them. They were more than friends. They were his family, woven into the fabric of his life. What did it matter if he had a scholarship if it cost him their friendship? Look, this isn't about being better, Jake pleaded, his voice rising. I just want all of us to do well. You guys deserve more than this town can give. The crowd grew silent, eyes shifting. Was he saying too much? Jake could feel the tension in the air, thick as fog. After a beat, Tommy relaxed his stance. You think you're gonna come back and throw money at us? We're not some charity case. No. Jake's chest tightened as he searched for the words. I just want us all to make it out, to dream bigger. I don't want to leave anyone behind. A silence fell over the group, each face a reflection of the hopes and worries that lingered in the fading light. Slowly, Jake began to feel a shift. Jake, Tommy said softly after a moment. You think it's easy for us too? You don't know what we're going through. I know, Jake started, but the rush of emotion caught in his throat. I wish I could help, honestly. I'm scared of losing you guys. Tommy opened his mouth to reply when the bell rang, snapping the moment. Students began to disperse. Jake felt a wave of frustration. He had hoped for understanding, even if just a little. But as they moved away, he saw the glimmer of something in Tommy's eyes, a flicker of understanding, maybe. Jake walked away from the crowd, feeling lighter yet heavier at the same time. He stood up for his friends, but now his path felt lonelier. What if he could bridge that gap between two worlds? He mulled over the thought as he left the school, the sunset alight with possibilities. In that moment, Jake realized that the true battle had only just begun. What kind of warrior would he need to be? As he walked, determination settled in his heart. It wasn't just about proving something to others, but proving it to himself. But as he pondered the challenges ahead, one truth loomed ever large. Could he truly make a difference without losing himself completely? The questions hung heavy in the air, urging him toward a reckoning he couldn't yet foresee. Jake took another deep breath, feeling the cool breeze brush against his cheek as he stepped into the unknown. Everything was about to change. Jake's feet moved automatically, taking him down familiar streets filled with fading daylight. His mind was racing, thoughts tumbling over each other like loose marbles. The conversation with his friends replayed, each word echoing with a deeper meaning. He didn't want to be that person who abandoned his roots, but the new life beckoned, glimmering with promises of hope and achievement. As he reached the little park where they used to hang out, he hesitated. Memories flooded back, laughter carried on the breeze, shared secrets, dreams whispered under the stars. Jake leaned against a creaky swing set, its chains squeaking softly, and closed his eyes, trying to shut out the noise of uncertainty. Just then, he heard footsteps approaching. It was Mia, their other friend, a bright light in their tight-knit circle, always ready with a smile. "Hey, Jake," she called, her voice brightening the shadows creeping over his thoughts. "What is going on? You seem off." Jake opened his eyes, forcing a smile. "I just had a rough day." She stepped closer, concern replacing her cheerful demeanor. "Talk to me. What happened with Tommy and the others?" He sighed, rubbing the back of his neck, the tension still tight there. I guess I thought I could make things better. But now it feels like everything's just worse. Mia frowned, her brow furrowing. They're scared, Jake. You're moving into a world they don't know. That can feel like betrayal, even if it isn't. That's just it, he said, his voice rising. I want them to see what is possible, but I don't know how to get through to them. Every time I try, it's like he paused, struggling to keep his emotions in check. They pull away. Mia stepped closer, her expression softening. You're still the same, Jake. They need to remember that. You're not leaving them behind. You're trying to bring them with you. But it's going to take time. Just keep talking to them. Jake nodded, feeling a flicker of warmth in his chest. I just wish they'd understand. I can't lose them. They mean too much to me. She smiled, that bright smile that always seemed to light up the dark spaces in life. You won't lose them. Trust me. Suddenly, from across the playground, Jake caught sight of Tommy. A small group of kids surrounded him, laughing. And then, without warning, they turned. Jake's heart sank as he watched them walk away, their tones shifting, a wall going back up between them. Mia followed his gaze and clutched his arm. Just give it time. Every friendship has its bumps. It doesn't mean it's over. Jake took a deep breath, renewed hope flickering inside him. He had to believe that, but as they watched the shadows deepen, he realized something wasn't he's still allowed to dream while caring for those he loved. It felt so heavy, the responsibility weighing down on him. Thanks, Mia, he said softly. I needed that. Anytime. Just be you, she replied, giving his arm a reassuring squeeze before starting to back away. Jake watched her go, flickers of doubt still swirling. Could he really find that balance? What if he lost his friends along the way? These thoughts gnawed at him as he turned to leave. And suddenly, out of nowhere, he spotted a flyer stuck to a lamppost near the exit of the park. It read, Youth Leadership Conference Scholarships Available. A surge of excitement washed over him. What if this was the key? But as he reached for the paper, another thought struck him hard. What if attending it meant leaving behind his friends entirely? The moment hung in the air, Jacob standing at a crossroads, both thrilling and terrifying. How would he navigate this new chapter without leaving anyone behind? Jake stood in front of the lamppost, flyer in hand, his heart pounding. The words, Leadership Conference, danced in front of his eyes, like bright stars in the night sky. Could this be the stepping stone he needed? A bit of hope in a world that often felt heavy and overwhelming? But doubts crept in like shadows. What if his friends saw this as a betrayal? What would Tommy think if Jake jumped at this chance, while he struggled to find his own footing? The conflict inside him twisted like a knot, tightening with every passing moment. He looked around, searching for Mia, but she had already disappeared into the twilight. The park that had once felt so warm and welcoming now seemed to close in on him. He could hear the soft rustle of leaves and the distant laughter from other kids, but a silence lingered between his heart and mind. Taking a deep breath, Jake turned back to the flyer. Maybe this was a chance not just for him, but for all of them. What if he could learn skills that would help them all rise together? His friends deserve more than this small town. Why shouldn't he aim to bring back what he learned to help them? He pulled out his phone, fingers trembling as he punched in the details. The conference was just days away. It felt reckless, but the thought of outright rejection from Tommy and the others felt even worse, a slow suffocation of the dreams they had once shared. He had to be brave. Jake's mind spun with ideas. He could prepare a pitch to show them how this opportunity could benefit not just him, but them too. They could climb the ladder together. With a sense of determination brewing inside his chest, he committed to going. Not just for him, but for the whole group. As he walked home, resolve mingling with anxiety, Memories of his friends filled his mind once more. They were counting on him to be a bridge away to lift them beyond their current struggles. But would they really see it that way? Or would it feel like he was pulling away, chasing a distant dream? The streetlights flickered on, illuminating his path. But even as the darkness receded, uncertainty loomed just as large. Could one small decision create ripples that would either strengthen or divide their friendship? When he got home, Jake couldn't shake the worry that gripped him. He wanted to call Tommy, but the thought of facing his friend, seeing the hurt in his eyes, made him hesitate. Instead, he sat at his desk, staring at the flyer, pin hovering over the registration form. His pulse quickened with each passing moment. Should he forge ahead into the unknown, or turn back to the safety of the familiar? He scribbled a few lines down before stopping, his heart pounding. What if he took the leap and told them about it? What if he could show them that change didn't have to be scary? The thought ignited a tiny spark of hope. But as he folded the flyer and tucked it into his pocket, he realized that he had a choice to make, a choice that could change everything. The echoes of laughter from the park echoed through his mind again. Did he dare to dream big and risk everything for the possibility of a better life for all of them? And then, as if in answer to all his unanswered questions, his phone buzzed. It was a message from Tommy. "Dude, are we still good for tomorrow? We need to talk." Jake's heart raced. What could Tommy possibly want to discuss? Questions flooded his mind. Would they support him in his leap, or would they pull him back into the safety of their routines? With uncertainty flickering inside, Jake stood firmly at the door between his past and a potential future. Did he dare to step through? Jake paced back and forth in his small bedroom, the hum of the outside world fading to a distant murmur. The message from Tommy flickered on his phone screen, pulling his thoughts back into focus. What did Tommy mean by, "We need to talk"? Jake stuck his hands deep into his pockets, the flyer crumpling under his fingers. He glanced at the poster on his wall, a collage of memories with his friends, their smiles frozen in time. Would telling them about the conference change how they saw him? He sank onto his bed, the weight of his decision heavy on his chest. Each tick of the clock echoed like a countdown, and the longer he waited, the more unsure he felt. He needed to answer Tommy's message. Would he spill his heart out or keep it hidden for now? A wave of bravery surged through him. Maybe this was it. The moment to open up. He texted back, "Yeah, still good? What is up?" Minutes felt like hours as he waited. Anxiety curled in his stomach, twisting tightly. Would Tommy react with support or disappointment? The memory of their last conversation flashed in his mind. They had laughed together, but he sensed an undercurrent of tension. Tommy's own struggles weighed heavily on him, and Jake could only begin to imagine the conflicts their friendship faced. Just then, his phone buzzed again. "Can you meet at the diner? We can talk there?" The diner was a familiar place, a second home. The smell of fries and milkshakes reminded him of simpler times. He texted back, "On my way," and took a deep breath, steeling himself for whatever was about to unfold. The cool evening air greeted him as he stepped outside, a refreshing contrast to the heat of his thoughts. He walked briskly, the flyer still buried in his pocket, a silent promise to himself. As he pushed open the diner's door, a tinkle of bells announced his arrival. The same faces from the local crowd, the booths filled with laughter and chatter. He spotted Tommy at their usual corner table, his arms crossed, brow furrowed. "Hey man," Jake said, sliding into the booth across from him. "What is going on?" Tommy sighed, long and deep, staring at the tabletop as if it held all the answers. "I don't want to be the bad guy, but it feels like things are changing. You've got ambition, Jake. And I get that. But I don't want you to leave us behind." The words hit Jake like a punch. Anger and guilt surged within him, battling for control. "I'm not trying to leave anybody behind, Tommy. I'm just thinking that maybe I can help us all." This conference, it could be a chance to be someone else? Tommy interrupted, eyes flicking up to meet Jake's, searching for understanding but finding only uncertainty. You think you can just learn some magic tricks and come back ready to save us? Jake clenched his fists tightly. No, it's not like that. I want to bring back tools to help all of us. We can grow together. At that moment, he realized that it wasn't just about him. It was about every moment they had shared, every secret they had sworn to keep. It was about hope. Tommy's expression softened, but the shadows of doubt lingered. Okay, but it feels like a risk. What if you get all these big ideas, and we can't keep up? What if you decide you don't want to come back? Silence enveloped them, a heavy weight. Jake's heart raced, realization dawning this wasn't just about the conference, but the future of their friendship. He couldn't let fear drive a wedge between them. I won't abandon us, Tommy. I promise. But I need you to believe in me and us. The words hung in the air, raw and vulnerable. Tommy studied his friend's eyes. I want to, but it's tough. As the tension settled, Jake's phone vibrated again, breaking the moment. He glanced down, a new message blinking on the screen, this time from Mia. Hey! Are you guys at the diner? I have something I want to share too. Jake's heart picked up a notch. Could she possibly know about the conference? Was she feeling the push to change as well? Looks like she is joining us, Jake said, forcing a smile. Maybe together we can figure this all out. But Tommy's look of concern persisted, and for Jake, it became clear that the upcoming conference was just the beginning. Would they all be ready to embrace the change ahead? As he took a sip of his drink, the weight of destiny loomed closer, ready to unfold. What choices would they make now that the winds of change were stirring again? Jake shifted in his seat, the weight of Tommy's gaze lingering as he heard the door swing open. Mia stepped inside, a burst of energy carrying her through the diner, brightening the usual dim atmosphere. Her eyes glimmered with anticipation as they found Jake and Tommy in their booth. Hey! She called, waving enthusiastically. Hope I'm not interrupting anything important. Jake's nerves couldn't help but settle a bit at her presence, her enthusiasm infectious. Not at all. We were just talking. Tommy straightened, forcing a smile, but Jake could tell he was still grappling with the conversation that he just had. Mia slid into the booth next to Jake, her expression shifting to curiosity. What's up? You both look like you just solved a world crisis. Tommy chuckled softly, but avoided her gaze. Just sorting through some heavy stuff. You know how it is. Mia's brow furrowed, and she leaned in closer. I've got news too. It's big, like changing everything big. Mia, you're being mysterious, Jake said, trying to inject some playfulness into the moment. Just tell us already. With a quick breath, Mia launched into her story. I got accepted to that art workshop I applied to. It's all the way in the city, and if I go, it could open tons of doors. Jake's heart soared for her. That is amazing, he exclaimed. He could see the excitement radiating off her, washing away the heaviness that had been hovering over them. Tommy cleared his throat, but Jake caught the flicker of pride in his friend's expression. That is something, Mia. I didn't know you were that good at art. I've been working on it, you know? It feels like a chance to commit to something I love. But then I think about leaving you guys. Why would you feel bad about that? Jake interjected. It's your life. Your happiness matters. Yeah, but what if we lose our bond? Mia frowned. Tommy leaned back, crossing his arms. I get it. How can we keep our connection if we're all chasing these big dreams? Mia sighed, her enthusiasm dimming. It shouldn't have to be like this. Jake felt the heaviness creep back in. But maybe pursuing our passions could actually bring us closer. We can support each other from a distance. Tommy nodded slowly, the muscles in his jaw tightening. What if I want to chase something too? It scares me. Jake's mind raced, grasping for words, a spark igniting within him. What if we make a pact? No matter what happens, we promise to meet every month, share our experiences. We could really celebrate what we achieve. Or struggle with our fears together, Mia added, her gaze sharpening. Tommy cracked a smile, albeit hesitant. I like that idea. It could work. Let us do it. Jake felt a surge of hope envelop them, an unspoken commitment blooming in the air. The energy shifted, and he could see possibilities glimmering among the shadows of doubt. As they talked about the pact, laughter crept back into their conversation, weaving through heavier topics, strengthening their bonds just a little more. But somewhere, deep down, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that the challenges were just beginning. While they chatted, a figure in the diner caught Jake's eye. He turned to see a girl sitting alone at the counter, scribbling furiously in a notebook. Something about her seemed familiar yet distant, like a ghost from his past. His heartbeat quickened at the sight. Who was she, and why did she invoke such strong emotions? Before he could process it further, the door of the diner swung wide again, and a gust of wind swept in, followed by a confrontation, one he never expected. "Jake!" shouted a voice that echoed through the crowd. "We need to talk. Now." He turned, dread pooling in his stomach. What now? Jake's heart raced as he recognized the voice. It was Alex, a childhood friend he hadn't seen in years. He had a way of appearing out of nowhere, often bringing with him a storm of trouble. "What are you doing here?" Jake's voice was thick with tension. "Seriously, Jake. We have to talk. It's important," Alex pleaded, his expression a mixture of urgency and desperation. Mia and Tommy exchanged glances, and Tommy's brow knitted with concern. "Is everything okay?" he asked, instinctively shifting closer to Jake. Jake felt the weight of their eyes as he wrestled with the flood of emotions. He wanted to shove all of it aside, the good times, the secrets, the way Alex would always pull him back into chaos. But some part of him, deep down, craved the connection they once had. "Can it wait?" Jake asked, trying to keep his voice steady. The implications of Alex's presence felt overwhelming. "Listen, it can't wait," Alex insisted, his voice dropping to a harsh whisper. "You're going to want to hear this. Trust me." Jake felt a knot form in his stomach as Mia reached over, placing a reassuring hand on his arm. "Hey, we're here for you," she said softly, grounding him. He took a deep breath, glancing at everyone at the booth before finally nodding curtly at Alex. "All right. Let us step outside." The diner's noise faded into the background as they exited into the chilly evening air. The weight of the moment crashed over him, and he momentarily regretted agreeing to this conversation. Alex leaned against the brick wall, arms crossed, eyes scanning the street as if waiting for something or someone to appear. "Jake, it's your mom." The air felt sucked out of Jake's lungs. "What about her? Things aren't good?" Well, she's in trouble. You need to know." Alex's voice trembled slightly as he uttered the news. Jake's mind spun. He hadn't seen his mother in years. Their relationship was fractured. The memories flooded back, arguments, heartache, the last time he walked out of their house, slamming the door behind him. "What do you mean in trouble?" he demanded, almost afraid to hear the answer. "Involved in something bad, Jake. You need to come home. No one else can help her." Home. Just the word twisted Jake's gut. Could he go back there? The chaotic childhood he had left behind, the shame that lingered. He felt the blood rush to his ears in a mix of anger and sorrow. "What happened?" Jake pressed. "Tell me everything." Alex sighed heavily. "I don't have all the details, but it's serious. There's been talk she's in with a rough crowd." Jake felt the world tilt. He thought about his pact with Mia and Tommy, the future he envisioned for himself. But somehow, everything seemed to blur with the possibility of losing his mother completely. "Jake?" Mia's voice broke through his whirlwind of thoughts as she appeared at the door, eyes wide with concern. "Just give me a minute," he muttered, his voice barely above a whisper. As he turned back to Alex, he felt the weight of choices pressing down on him: family, dreams, fear. What did he have to sacrifice to save her? Can he really step back into that past and risk his future? "Please, Jake." "Time is running out," Alex urged, as the reality of the situation hit him. Questions swirled in his mind. Would he abandon everything he had just begun to believe in? With a heavy heart, Jake looked down the street, contemplating the crossroads of his life. Would his journey lead him back to heartache or towards a chance at redemption? "Let us go," he finally said, his voice steadier now, determination solidifying within him. But as they turned to walk, Jake couldn't shake the lingering doubt. Was he ready for the truth of what awaited him, or would it shatter everything he fought to build? The silence between Jake and Alex felt heavy, loaded with unspoken fears. As they walked, each step echoed in Jake's mind, punctuating his internal struggle. He could hear the faint laughter from the diner behind them, a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing inside. "Jake," Alex said, breaking the silence, "you might want to brace yourself. I think there's more going on than just your mom being involved with the wrong crowd." "What do you mean?" Jake turned to face him, a flicker of worry in his eyes. "What else is there?" Alex paused, his gaze shifting away for a moment, as if searching for the right words. "I overheard some things. Your mom is mixed up with a guy named Frank. He is not just bad news. From what I gather, he is dangerous. There are whispers of things escalating. You need to understand, it might not just be her life at stake." Jake felt the panic rise. The universe was spinning too fast. His head swam with memories of a messy home life, of the times he convinced himself he was better off staying away. The idea of danger clawed at his heart, dragging him back to feelings he thought he'd buried. "I can't just march back into her life." "It's complicated, Alex." "I know, but this is your mom. You still care, right?" Alex's words hung in the air like a challenge. Jake's chest tightened as he recalled their last encounter, how cold he'd been, how right it felt to walk away. But now, everything felt so different. Memories of laughter and warmth clashed with the regrets of years lost. "I do care, but how am I supposed to help her? I don't even know where she is." "Look," Alex said urgently, "I have a lead. It's not much, but I heard she has been staying with someone she trusts. I'm not sure who exactly, but I think she has been trying to get away from Frank. If we can find her before things get worse, maybe we can help her." Jake's heart raced, a mix of hope and dread. What if he found her, only to discover she was further gone than he imagined? The echoes of his childhood pressed against him. What if she doesn't want my help? Then at least you'll know you tried. But if you don't go, what if something happens? You'd never forgive yourself. The weight of those words settled over him. He contemplated the notion of inaction, and the guilt that would surely follow if he did nothing. He looked at Alex, whose face was strained with worry yet resolute. There was a bond between them now, one forged in shared struggles, and the mutual desire to protect those they cared about. "Okay," Jake finally said, determination igniting within him. "Let us do this." As they turned to head toward the car, Mia caught up with them, breathless and wide-eyed. "What is going on? You both look like you've seen a ghost." Jake exchanged a glance with Alex before speaking. "We're going to find my mom." Mia studied him for a moment, then nodded, a fierce determination shining in her eyes. "We're in this together, right?" "Right," Jake affirmed, feeling an ember of hope kindling. As he climbed into the car, he knew they were on the cusp of something monumental. But as they pulled away from the diner, A sense of impending dread crept along with them. Would they find his mother in time? Or would they uncover secrets that would shake the very foundation of his existence? The road stretched ahead, dark and uncertain, but Jake was ready to confront whatever awaited him. He could almost hear the whispers of a past he thought he had escaped. Was he about to embrace them again, or was there a way forward into the light? He clenched his fists on the steering wheel, a surge of raw determination rushing through him. The unknown loomed ahead, a shadow waiting to unfold. What awaited them around the corner? The engine roared to life, a sound that momentarily drowned out Jake's swirling thoughts. As he maneuvered the car onto the road, the tires gripped the asphalt with a sense of urgency. Alex sat next to him, guiding him with directions, while Mia leaned against the rear seat, her quiet resolve anchoring Jake in a sea of uncertainty. "Take a left here," Alex instructed. The route felt familiar yet foreign, memories darting through Jake's mind like fireflies in the dark. Each intersection reminded him of his childhood, the laughter, the arguments, the feeling of leaving something behind he could never reclaim. What if we get there, and she doesn't even want to talk to me? Jake's voice trembled, vulnerability creeping into the confidence he tried to summon. He focused on the road, each mile more challenging than the last. Mia's voice broke through the haze. "You can't control her reaction, Jake. But you need to give her a chance. Just show up. Even if she doesn't want your help, she'll know you care." "Yeah, Mia's right," Alex added, his tone firm. "You might be surprised by how she feels. Sometimes people are waiting for others to reach out, even if they don't admit it." "What if she's lost, Alex? What if this Frank has her wrapped around his finger?" Jake's knuckles whitened on the steering wheel, fear seeping through him like a cold fog. The thought of someone manipulating her, hurting her, made his stomach twist. They pressed on, the car slicing through the evening shadows. Trees blurred past like specters of the past. Jake fought to suppress the whirlwind inside him, reminding himself that he was choosing to face his fears. This was more than just about finding his mother. It was a journey to reclaim the pieces of himself scattered like forgotten toys in the attic of his childhood. "Look at it this way," Mia interjected, breaking the tension like sunshine piercing clouds. "No matter the outcome, you'll have taken a step. You're breaking this cycle. Whether for better or worse, you're in charge of your story now." Her words echoed in his heart, a soft balm against his doubts. Hadn't he been running away for far too long? This was his moment, a fragile flicker of courage igniting against the backdrop of his fears. When they finally arrived at the address Alex had procured, their hearts raced in unison. The house loomed like a forgotten dream, paint peeling off the walls, overgrown grass weaving tales of neglect. It looked worn, just like moments of his life, a reminder that time doesn't always heal. Yet, it was also a reminder of resilience. Jake parked the car, and was struck by the weight of what lay ahead. The gravity of the decisions pressed down on him, and he hesitated. "What if she doesn't want to see me?" he murmured again, softer this time, yet still seeking reassurance that his fear was unfounded. Alex placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You'll regret it if you don't try, Jake. You can't let doubt dictate your actions." With a deep breath, Jake unbuckled his seatbelt and opened the door. The cool air brushed against his skin, refreshing yet daunting. Mia and Alex stepped out behind him, their presence a comforting reminder that he wasn't alone in this. As they walked toward the house, Jake felt his heart pounding painfully against his ribcage, each step laden with trepidation and hope. Would she welcome him with open arms or slam the door on his face? What secrets awaited behind that threshold? He raised his hand to knock, breath suspended in his throat, and then he paused. Were they too late to save her? Just as he was about to press his knuckles against the worn wood, a chill ran down his spine. A shadow moved behind the curtain. Someone was watching them, and for a moment, Jake felt an icy grip of fear take hold of him. Was it Frank? What would happen next? The door creaked open, and Jake's heart raced. A familiar face appeared, a face marred by age, worry, and time. It was his mother, Emily. The instant she saw him, an array of emotions cascaded across her features: shock, disbelief, and finally, a flicker of warmth that melted away some of the tension. "Jake," she whispered, her voice a fragile melody mixed with pain and joy. Mom," he stammered, suddenly overwhelmed with a myriad of feelings that closed in like a thick fog. 3 years of distance fell away, and in that moment, they were both standing at a crossroads tangled in memories. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her gaze shifting to Alex and Mia, who stood behind him, supported but cautious. "I heard you needed help." "That things had gotten complicated," Jake replied, searching her eyes for truth and understanding. She hesitated, glancing back into the dimly lit house before taking a deep breath. "You shouldn't have come, Jake. It's not safe. You don't know what you're getting into." As the gravity of her words sunk in, it was Alex who stepped forward, his voice steady but with an undercurrent of urgency. "We heard you were in trouble, Em. We just want to help." Emily's eyes flickered to him, and for a moment, she softened, her protective instincts clashing with the desperation of their circumstances. "I appreciate your concern, but I can't put you in danger. Frankie is not someone you want to mess with." Jake's heart pounded in his chest, fueled by a mix of dread and determination. "We've come this far. I'm not leaving without knowing you're all right," he said, his voice steadying, still battling the swell of fear. Emily's expression shifted as tears shimmered in her eyes. "I don't want you to get hurt. That's why I left. I thought you'd be better off without this mess." "Mom," Jake pleaded, stepping closer, his voice breaking slightly. "I've been running from this for too long. I care too much to walk away now." In that moment, the breach between them started to close. Emily's shoulders sagged under the weight of her own burdens, and she stepped back, allowing them entry. "Okay, but you need to understand how serious this is." The living room was dim, littered with old furniture that held echoes of laughter and warmth now clouded with shadows. As Jake stepped inside, he glanced around, memories flooding back, whispers of a past he had tried to bury. But there was no time to dwell as a voice cut through the air like thunder. A deep, gravelly voice came from the hallway. "What is going on here?" Jake's spine stiffened. He didn't have to turn around to know it belonged to Frank. It wasn't just a voice. It was a threat, animalistic and possessive. The pit of anxiety in Jake's stomach clenched painfully. Emily's face paled, and she positioned herself protectively in front of Jake. "Leave them out of this, Frank. They're just kids." Jake could feel the storm build, the fusion of fear and anger igniting something fierce in him. "I'm not a kid," he shouted, frustration spilling out. "I'm here because I care. I'm not letting you hurt my family anymore." The tension crackled like static electricity. Frank stepped into view, intimidating, all rough edges with deceptive charm, masking dark intents. "You don't know what you're dealing with, boy," he challenged, eyes narrowing. "We might not know everything about you, but we know enough." Alex shot back defiantly, stepping forward. Mia remained by Jake's side, a quiet strength amid the chaos. "This isn't just a fight for her," she implored. "It's about family. And we stand by each other, no matter what." With those words, something shifted in the room, an unspoken agreement illuminated the darkness. Frank took a step back for a moment, uncertainty flickering across his eyes. "Stay out of this, kid," he barked, eyes wild with anger. But Jake felt empowered, bolstered by the presence of his friends and the love he felt for his mother. "Mom, you deserve better. We can make it out of this together," Jake urged, feeling a new resolve settle into his bones. Emily's gaze shifted from Jake to Frank and back again. I'm tired of living in fear, she whispered, strength spilling into her voice. I want a better life for you, Jake. For us. What do we do? Mia asked, looking between the two conflicting forces in the room. Together, Alex said firmly. We expose him for who he is. He can't thrive on fear if we don't let him. Emily took a deep breath, courage building. I'll stand with you, she declared, the shimmer of conviction igniting in her eyes, washing away years of insecurity. Frank's face twisted in fury, but his threat lost its edge. With newfound resolve, the group rallied together. They called the authorities, reciting the truth, sharing crucial details that would break the spell of fear. And one by one, they peeled back the layers of uncertainty shrouding Emily's life. As officers arrived, it felt surreal, like stepping out of a fog into bright daylight. They took Frank away one step closer to restoring peace in their lives. With trembling breaths and hopeful glances, they stood together, Jake, his mother, Mia, and Alex. The shadows that once held them captive were lifting. In that moment, Jake realized the true meaning of family. It wasn't about perfection. It was about support, love, and rising together. As he looked at his mother, tears glistening down her cheeks, he felt free. Let us build a new life, Mom, he whispered, feeling tears of joy swell in his own eyes. We can do this together. Finally, the weight that had burdened him began to melt away, replaced by an anchoring warmth and the promise of tomorrow. They embraced, and Jake knew this was just the beginning of a new journey filled with hope and healing. Now is your chance to help keep these incredible stories alive. Don't wait another moment. Subscribe immediately to the channel, so you can join us for the next unique tale. And hey, if you love this ending, please leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. I want to hear your reactions too, so comment below with your thoughts and feelings about how everything turned out. Oh, and make sure to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need some inspiration from this transformation. Let us spread the message far and wide. This is the moment to act if you truly care about these stories and want to keep them coming. You need to subscribe now.